Unkind Rewind. Get to the chopper!
You know what you are? You're one of those little fancy lads, aren't you?
Link and I are cruising the mountain, bro, and we figure we'd some little juice.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Unkind Rewind. This week we will be chatting with friend of the pod, Jeremy Steen, in advance of next week's main event, which will be revisiting a film soon to be revealed. Sitting here with Sean, for people not watching and listening.
Sean-san.
Yeah, Sean-san.
I had that up because I had to do a Japanese
Yeah.
zoo lesson.
Right on.
So you would be Joshua-san. Joshua-san. It's a hard thing to end with an SH, so
Yeah.
they would probably give you a U. Joshu.
Right on.
Now you know.
Yeah, the more you know. And I was afraid that if I did that hand gesture, I'd make balloons pop up, because every once in a while I have balloons just like pop up on my, like, across my Zoom screen. Don't know why.
Better that than in real life.
I think it'd be better in real life, honestly. Like if you just had that magic trick in your bag that just balloons just like popped up when you made a hand gesture, it'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, but then you'd have to worry about your carbon footprint being increased as all those balloons go off into the sky.
Yeah.
Balloons never did it for me.
Whatever. I was going to get into some dumb Bridgerton thing, but
what's the dumb Bridgerton?
It's just a hot air balloon thing, and I just don't get hot air balloons.
Are you watching Bridgerton by proxy?
Oh, I'm barely I saw a scene. This is not a show that I watch.
You can admit it if it is.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with admitting if I like, a show that's.
What's your guiltiest of pleasures?
Oh, I mean, we were just watching fucking the Vanderpump reunion last night.
Okay, yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, that's a guilty one.
That's a very guilty
And I've
one.
watched Vanderpump since the fucking beginning, which is even weirder. Like I wasn't like, I didn't come to Scandival late or anything like that. Like, no, I was watching season 1 of Vanderpump when it was like the spinoff from Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, which is the only housewives show that I watch.
What is the allure of Vanderpump that has kept you this long?
Well, Vanderpump is kind of like, it at least started where it was, oh no, these are people who all work in a restaurant.
Right. And occasionally have sex with each other.
Oh, all the time have sex with each other. Yeah. I mean, they're wrecks. Like, as people, they're disasters. But
they're not rich.
They weren't rich, at least at first. I mean, they're not. They're like, they're on reality shows now. So like, they have a modicum of success. They're at the point where like they've all bought houses in Valley Village, but like Valley Village isn't the most desirable neighborhood in Los Angeles. It's still close enough to stuff, but like it's it's where like the working sort of like producer level people in reality could live.
Do you know how day rates work on, say, a reality show?
They're not on day. The stars aren't on day rates.
How would that work? Like, it's not like they're getting like a SAG daily.
I think they're getting a per episode. I think they straight up get a per episode deal. So because they're like, it's not they're not SAG. I don't think. I can't imagine they are. But obviously the returning people all have deals. I mean, that's all shit that their agents are working out. They're not on like a scale thing or anything like that. I've only worked on like contest shows, so I don't know, or at least in the sense that like I've seen what people are making. I've only worked on contest shows. I haven't worked on reality shows where it's, following people in their lives.
It seems to me the worst of all would be the editing on something like that.
Oh, for sure. But like I know for a while Jax was the he's there's a spin-off now called The Valley, which I'm also watching. But
It just never ends.
I know. But Jax for a long time was the highest paid cast member on Vanderpump, and I think he was making 25,000 an episode.
Wow. Okay, that's good money if you can get it
Yeah.
on the rag, and they're
But
probably
he also made for very good content because he's such a fucking disaster. Um, I know maybe he was making 10 and everybody else was making like 7 or 8 or something, but he was the number one guy in the group. Which
Jax.
Vanderpump fans would appreciate that I said that.
My kind of woebegone admission would be that watching a reality show, I quickly will flock to one character in particular,
Mhm.
like the one that I, kind of resonate with, and then I'm somehow through the manipulation of a reality show then become invested in that one person. And
What reality show is the
I mean, I've watched Vanderpump, and I've watched Selling Sunset.
Oh God, Selling Sunset, and we were watching Selling the OC right now. Selling the OC is actually a guiltier pleasure than Vanderpump, but we were watching the new season of Selling the OC, and it is fucking horrible.
Yeah. I mean,
Who do you like on Selling Sunset?
I could not remember their names. This was I was watching it by like the arrangement you go into sometimes in a relationship.
Sure.
You watch my shows, I watch yours.
Right.
So I couldn't tell you, but it was probably somebody's husband or boyfriend that I was like rooting for to get out of a relationship.
Sure. On that show especially.
Oh God. Well, and yeah, I mean, it felt like there was an episode on every day, but I'm sure she was just doing some catch up.
Yeah.
I'm not happy about admitting that. It was
those Selling shows are the trashiest.
It's really bad. It's bad for me probably as well.
Oh, for sure. Like, so the $1 Million Listing in LA is like, I don't know, they're at least like actual realtors. They're actually selling homes. They're not selling homes on Selling Sunset. I don't know if you know that, but like only one of them is actually a licensed seller. Yeah.
The thing that is humbling, or the thing that is disheartening maybe about a lot of those, is that I think you and I both have a lot of respect for intelligence. And it really hurts the soul when we see successful people who are not intelligent doing so well. And I don't know if they would get within 10 years of like when the Civil War was, or could name any president after Jefferson between Lincoln.
Watching Selling the OC yesterday, one of the characters who had just sold an $8 million home and it was supposed to be getting a $237,000 commission.
Right.
Said, I'm gonna walk down to the pub and I'm gonna get a pint of Guinness. And one of the other characters, or people, they're not a character, they're an actual person. One of the other people in the office, Alexandra Rose, said, what's that? And the person repeats like, a pint of Guinness. And she's like, what is that? And she's like, a Guinness. She's like, I don't know what that is. And then she didn't know what a pint was either. Wow. Polly was like, the pint, like it's a unit of, like, she's like, how much is with that? She's like, a pint, like that's the unit of measurement. Like, it was shocking to see someone who is like 30 not have any idea what either Guinness or a pint was.
My mom, who was in the middle school and high school education system in the last 15 years, said that she was just continuously like, just, I don't know, like dejected to realize how stupid the kids that are graduating were. I think
but I think that we want to think that wasn't the case when we were that age also, but it absolutely was.
But these are people who are kind of filtering out and becoming characters on shows like this, right? And they can't tell time on an analog watch.
Sure.
That's
But they can edit video on a like that's there's like there's sort of a whatever marginal skill that they can't do. They can do something else that's a lot more complex. I don't want to just be sitting here shitting on like Gen Z or whatever.
They could put together a really amazing story.
Yeah.
On Instagram.
Yeah, and good luck. Like, I don't want to. I'm not trying to shit on your mom right now, but like, I know she can't do that.
No.
like there's a trade-off here, you know, like I think as we age, we want to like always complain about like the next generation not being able to do something, but it's like, I don't know. I mean, like I can't edit very well. You know,
yeah,
like,
I mean,
I could put more work into it. It's certainly, I'm talking more video editing than audio editing, but
yeah, and you're not a trained editor who does that as their full-time job.
No, but like a lot of these people, a lot of these kids can do like way more complex editing shit on multiple platforms where each platform is completely different. Like I'm sure editing in TikTok is completely different than editing video in Instagram. And like they can cross-platform video edit much more elegantly than I can.
I imagine it at the end of the day, if they're doing well, all that's farmed. And
at a certain point, yes, but they got to the level where they got without farming it out.
Yeah, Mr. Beast was doing his own videos.
Absolutely. And is not anymore, obviously.
I don't know if he even sees what the final export is at this point. And
yeah, listeners, Sean and I both know who Mr. Beast is.
Yeah, it's not just like one of these buzzwords that we've written down so that we can talk to you youths.
Yeah, you Utes.
Who Utes?
So I guess we've got some, modicum of feedback. Gopher Balls was talking about Cocoon on Blue Sky and said, man, I forgot about Cocoon, but it was big time. This is a righteous trip down memory lane to a simpler time when old people breakdanced and Wilford Brimley was not yet menacing. I remember Neighbor Kid was all excited when it came out on VHS because he'd heard about a pool sex scene. Poor kid.
Yeah, I mean, anything that you might be, I guess, affected by can quickly go away in the next couple frames.
Uh-huh.
There's a bit of a tease on that sex scene.
Yes.
In a bad way.
Yeah. Summer said that our episode on Cocoon that she wasn't sure, or that I don't even know that the episode did justice to just how horny the movie is.
It's pretty horny.
It's an impossibly horny movie about septuagenarians.
And there's so many little things. I mean, like we talk a lot about the overt stuff, but I can't not think of Hume Cronin now with his knees under the blanket.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Tumescent with wanton looks towards.
Yeah. I mean, it was absolutely representing his erection.
Well, yeah, and he could not be satisfied in that movie.
No.
He could have
his sexual appetite was rapacious.
It was unsated.
Yes.
It could not be sated. I mean, perhaps he can take care of that wet. Do we have a name for where they went? I don't know if the Promised Land was actually titled.
It was, it was. It started with an A.
Denny, he may have said it.
Yeah. It's not Atlantia or anything like that, but it's not far from it.
The hardcore Cocoon heads, the good heads are screaming it right now.
Yeah.
It's Abraxia now.
It's not that, but it's not far from that.
But
I have it listed in my notes.
I imagine that Hume, once he made it there, just finally was able to kind of feast man, woman, alien.
Antarian is Antares or something.
Antari.
Yeah.
Sure. Capitalizing on that, on the Atari. golden
Antari,
age.
Antares.
Antares.
Yeah.
Yeah, Hume is going to fuck when he gets there.
Yeah, big time. Big time. A lot of people were pumped that we're doing the gate also. Um,
Right on.
oh yeah, got Leo, one of my old buddies from Minneapolis, was like, "Caution, backmasking is real." The feeding the feeding the backwards shit on vinyl into the the backwards messages into a record.
Yeah, I mean the gate elicits, I think, a pretty visceral response for a lot of people if they know
Oh,
of
for
it. I
sure.
mean, even for me who hadn't seen it, it was kind of a childhood fear
Hmm.
to watch it. Finally was able to slay that dragon, but there's not too many other movies. I've actually never seen front to back Exorcist as well,
Oh,
which is
really?
yeah,
Oh man, it's so good.
yeah. And I know that it's scary and good.
Yeah, it's really good. I
Like
just
it's a
watched it. Jackie had never seen it, and so we watched it maybe a year ago.
yeah,
I'm pretty
it's
sure
just
we
a
watched it in this apartment.
okay, it's a good film, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's really good.
Yeah. I mean, it's high on there. There's something about me that is holding out for a theatrical
Theatrical. Yeah.
experience.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's gonna come to New York. I'm sure.
Also, I'm sure it happened when Freakin' died. So
Yeah, I may have
yeah.
missed it. And there's like some director's cut that I don't know the differences between that and the theatrical,
I've
but
just seen the theatrical.
I think that they add some more stuff with Reagan.
Yeah,
Uh,
could be.
I'm a big Burstyn fan too,
Uh,
so
same.
it is one of those things where it's just like I heard so much about it growing up.
Mhm.
It's like you're not going to be the same after you see it. And so I was like, okay, well, I kind of like who I am. I'm gonna stay unbroken.
Yeah.
Hopefully avoid having my soul ripped out or like being afraid to go down to my creepy basement at the time.
I mean, like, you'd have to really believe in demonic possession to
Which I
have it.
don't. I mean, I
Yeah, I
believe
know, to have it be a lasting thing that you worry about. We're both, godless fucks. So
we're godless. But
yeah,
I think that it's not really the literal demonic possession that
sure.
you and I be it'd be like the Mandy freaks, right?
Uh-huh.
What were they called? Uh
The Black Skulls or
Black
his cult.
whatever his cult was. Like I think like that's the real like boogeyman, right?
Hmm.
Is the zealots who
Yeah, the cultist. Yeah,
adopt some type of religious,
sure.
you know, uh canon that says that they need to sacrifice people and you see that from time to time in real life. Um I mean Jesus Christ, if you ever read Under the Banner of Heaven,
Oh yeah,
you know that it can yeah, it's not like something that happened in
Children
the
of the New Dawn.
1600s. Children of the New Dawn.
I had to bring up
So,
my Mandy soundtrack.
so the Black Skulls were
The
like
Black Skulls were like the Cenobites.
oh Jesus Christ, yeah. I mean that movie too. I mean I wonder if that's going to be, an Unkind Rewind in 30 years, right? Like
Oh, I hope so.
that's going to be the movie that the kid walked in on.
Uh huh.
That's going to be the movie
Uh-huh.
that his older brother handed down to him or whatever.
Right.
Because Mandy at 9 or something, just sitting down and walking into that, or it's streaming somewhere. I don't even know if Mandy is.
It's on Shudder.
Yeah, like you really have to be a specific streamer to kind of have Shudder. It's not
Well,
going to.
Shudder's bundled in with AMC Plus.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
it's not going to be on like Netflix's top 5 for the week.
No, although I think there was an exclusivity with Shudder that I think just ended because I think I saw Mandy streaming somewhere else. I'm gonna check it on Just Watch real quick. Um, it's on Hulu now.
Wow. Okay, that's insane, I
It's on
guess.
Pluto.
So it's free?
Yeah, yeah, it's on Pluto. It's on Plex. It's on Roku. Yeah, the Shudder exclusivity ended.
It's
I
on
mean, it's still on
Roku.
Shudder, but yeah, it's on Hulu, Hoopla, Roku channel.
We're
Everyone,
living.
if you have not seen Mandy, everyone should watch that.
Everyone should watch Mandy and then probably call Josh on his cell phone and
Yes,
talk about it.
please, please call
He
me.
would he would absolutely welcome that.
Yes. Uh, no, first timers. Oh, I absolutely want to talk with you.
What would you tell
Um,
someone who has no association with Mandy, who doesn't know what it is? Like, what would you preface rather than just saying watch it? Do you have to be a specific type of movie person to
I don't think so because
appreciate it?
like a lot of non-horror people love Mandy. Like
Yeah.
Jackie loves Mandy, and Jackie doesn't like horror movies at all. Like she likes to insist that she doesn't like horror movies at all, and then we'll watch a horror movie and she'll be like, "Oh, I liked that." It's like, "Fuck you." I've literally said "fuck you" to her after she liked a horror movie that it took me months to get her to watch.
Yeah, saying fuck you is your love language
Yes, yeah.
to your wife. Have you seen, so I just watched Love Lies Bleeding.
I haven't watched it yet.
Okay.
I have a friend who hated it so much
Uh-huh.
that she has like considered unfriending people who liked it, which is really funny to me.
We won't talk
I have
about
I have a
that.
lot
And
of other people I know who loved it. So
I'll talk to you about that post watch.
yeah,
However, have you seen the previous director's movie, Saint Maud?
yeah, uh-huh.
Okay,
Saint Maud's great.
I really liked Saint Maud, and that's a movie that I try to
That's another like non-horror or atypical horror movie. Yeah,
coax people into that. It's
it's
just
really good.
it's really good. Yeah, and I think that speaking of Mandy, I think that is it Riseborough?
Yeah,
I think that she's got her day in the sun. I don't know when it's going to happen, but
I mean, she was just nominated for Best Actress.
did she get Best Actress in the Oscars for that? Like
She was nominated.
Yeah,
Yeah, for
that was
Leslie yeah.
never in a million years. I mean, she was up against the great Gladstone versus Stone battle.
No, she was nominated the year before.
Oh, okay. So I don't know who she would have lost to then. Oh, she would have lost to Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Yeah.
Michelle
Yeah,
Yeoh.
Michelle Yeoh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's no way that she was not going to win
No.
that.
No.
But I do think
everyone won everything for that.
yeah, I do think that Andrea Riseborough is going to win an Academy Award.
For sure.
She's very, very captivating and talented.
And she has that ability to like completely blend into a character, completely change. Not many, leading lady type actresses have that like ability to be a complete chameleon.
And very rarely do I ever hear her native British accent as well.
Yep.
She can flawlessly become an American.
Yes. Yeah. And flawlessly become like a regionalized American too. She's very talented.
Yeah, and she's, what was the last movie that she was in about the alcoholic?
To Leslie. That's what
To
she was
Leslie,
nominated
yeah,
for him.
Yeah, sorry, I missed that. I did see it, and they very beautiful women. They do a pretty good job of masking that.
Yeah. Well, she's also like very like there's something disconcerting about how kind of like lovely she is in Mandy. There's a weird like undercurrent to like a weird almost dark undercurrent to her character in that, which is also interesting. Anyway, whatever. We don't need to talk that much about Andrew Riseborough. How about them Wolves? You gonna bring
think
your ass?
You and I have talked about the Wolves
Mm-hmm.
probably more this year than any other year, rightly so.
I mean, since 04.
Yeah, since 04.
Yeah.
But like Game 7 is a game that the Wolves lose historically, franchise wise.
Yes,
it's a game that
they'd never won a game 7, right? They beat Sacramento in 04.
Yeah, that was their big 7, but then they went off to get
Sure.
Lakered. And I'm just thinking now, if had they beat Lakers, how great of a matchup it would have been against Detroit.
Yeah. Yeah. Because
Um,
it was the Wolves were a better defensive team than that Lakers team was. But
yeah, but like Garnett against
sure. Garnett against
Ben Wallace
Ben
and
Wallace,
Sheed
probably.
and
Yeah. Well, I guess Sheed would have been the natural matchup for, because
yeah,
it would have been what the candy was. It was a Candy Man, right? I'm not crazy. Was Olowa
yeah,
Candy the center for those
yeah,
Wolves?
yeah. My God.
Ugh.
But you would have had, who was it? Cassell against Billups.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it would have been really
Spree against what
probably
Rip or Tayshaun Prince, right?
yeah. But yeah, it would have been a legendary like just blue collar,
Yeah.
no non-Showtime battle. But yeah, I mean, I watched Celtics Pacers game 1
Yeah.
last night,
Mhm.
and
We're recording this right before game 1
game
of the
2,
Western
game 1 of
Conference.
West, yeah.
Yeah.
And the Pacers pulled a Wolves, like a classic Wolves, which they had the ball up by 3. They couldn't inbound. They blew it there. Then they turned it over on just bringing it up the court. That's the stuff that the Timberwolves have done.
Well, OKC did it in game 6 against fucking the semis against the Mavs.
It just like the composure just fails.
Yeah.
You just find out in that last in the crunch time who has fissures and faults in their skeletal system and who doesn't.
Mhm.
And the Wolves showed that it was Denver that had the osteoporosis.
Which was shocking.
Shocking.
To be, I mean, like, obviously we were like talking during the game.
Yeah.
And like we both thought that that game was over.
Yeah.
When they were down 20.
Yeah.
In the fucking in the second half,
you could bet. I don't even know what the
line would have been at that point, but it was nuts.
But for them to come back, like
Destiny, they were down 20 and won by fucking 8.
If the Wolves, I mean, it's a big if still, right? But if the Wolves win 8 games, like game 7 of the second round of the playoffs is going to be part of like the Minnesota curriculum.
Oh,
in the education system.
Yeah.
And think about the younger generations that haven't had their heart ripped out and had years of futility and are constantly
most of them didn't even have their hearts ripped out. They just had the futility.
Yeah. They haven't even got to a position where they had hope.
They're like how I was as a Royals fan in 2014, where the Royals had never even made the playoffs. Like it was 29 years between playoff appearances for the Royals.
Yeah, and we could go down a rabbit hole on your Royals on that.
Sure, no, I'm just saying like that's such a long period of time where they are entirely irrelevant. Like there were like in the 10 years leading up to that, or no, more than that, like since the turn of the century, they had one season where they were over 500. One.
And the reason that thank God the Wolves were shitty because you got 2 number 1 picks in what 5 years, 6 years.
Yeah.
So you have Cat and Ant, both number 1 picks, who are kind of proving that the draft system works in a way.
Well, I mean, if you make the right picks.
If you make the right picks,
if you don't draft Randy Foye.
Or Greg Oden.
Sure.
In Portland Trailblazer history.
But Foye is the...
I remember speaking to you on this here podcast about how I just wanted to get that first round thing off our backs. And now I'm so much hungrier. I'm so hungry for a finals appearance. I'm
with
so
cause.
For
I mean, like the Mavs are not slouches. I'm not even making a prediction about the series.
Yeah.
The Mavs are, especially post trade deadline, the Mavs are so much better.
They're scary. Yeah.
They're very scary.
They have two guys who could legitimately score 100 points.
Yeah, but yeah,
Between
each
them.
could both are like very capable of throwing out 50-point games.
You know, in NBA Jam, when you would make 3 baskets in a row and your character would go on fire, like
Yeah,
that's
Kyrie and
essentially,
Luka are basically sitting there.
yeah, they're both
Yeah.
on fire, unable to miss.
Yeah.
So yeah, it'll be really interesting next time we talk. We're gonna be
Either completely
in
dejected
in our
or
cups
yeah.
or tumescent again.
Yes. On that note,
On
we
that
should
note.
probably throw to our chat with Jeremy.
Speaking of sweaty,
Yes.
sweaty, oily,
Uh-huh.
sexy things.
Yep. We're of course talking about Jeremy there.
Jeremy knows.
Jeremy knows.
Jeremy
All right.
knows.
Well, have fun with this chat, everybody.
It's a great one.
We'll see you next week with the main event of A Real Gem.
Let's do it.
Welcome, everybody, to a new pre-interview installment of Unkind Rewind. I, of course, am Josh Dugan. I'm joined this week by old friend
Oh yeah.
Jeremy Steen.
What's up?
Since not everyone knows you, why don't you introduce yourself to the listeners, Jeremy?
There are people out there that don't know who I am.
There are people who do not know who you are, Jeremy.
Crazy.
Yeah.
My name's Jeremy Steen. We met working at an awesome job that I think a lot of formative relationships and were made there, as well as some experiences that should probably never be spoken about
Yeah.
in a public
If we want to
forum.
remain employable.
Yeah. Bad behavior all around. I turned 21 at that job.
You sure
which
did.
is pretty crazy. Yeah, I don't know. I've been a musician at times. I'm mostly writing now. I'm just a guy. There's not much to say.
What bands can people listen to find you on Bandcamp, Jeremy?
It's funny. One of my bands, my primary band, just was in a poll for worst band names of all time with from a local. I live in Milwaukee now. I'm from Austin, Texas, but I live in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And yeah, we were in this was a bracket for who has the worst band name. And when a friend sent me a screenshot of it, it was us against the Goo Goo Dolls. And we were winning by like 14 votes. It was like 3-17, our favor.
I wonder which band that was, Jeremy.
That was Fleshlights.
Whatever, that's bullshit.
I mean, it is a really bad band name. I still remember the moment we decided to name our band that and look back and intense regret. But
Yeah.
I've definitely been in bands with worse names, though. Should we go there?
We'll just say that it wasn't a statement about your being cozy with a certain ideology.
No, it was very much the opposite. But,
Yes.
it was very provocative. You could say that.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I definitely, one of our mutual friends was like, I mean, they're really good, but like I can never direct a video of theirs.
No. I mean, I think one of the points is it's no worse than a band like a band name like Joy Division or something.
Sure.
We just made the
Yeah.
connection explicit.
Yeah.
And I think we were far less we were absolutely not sympathetic to that ideology in any way. And
No,
some of those post-punk British post-punk bands, you can't necessarily say that about. They were
right.
some of them were some of them were dabblers,
Yeah, yeah,
if you will.
yeah. Um, so you've been you went to grad school for you got your MFA in creative writing, right?
For some reason, I did do that. Yes.
Yeah. Um,
At the University of North Carolina, Wilmington. Go Seahawks.
they're the Seahawks.
The Seahawks, yeah.
Okay.
Which is apparently not a real bird.
Sure.
It's an osprey is on
Okay, okay.
their statue.
Well, the gopher is actually a chipmunk.
Well, fuck me.
No, like the gopher's mascot. The gopher is an animal,
Right. Oh, okay. I was like, how did I
but
not
the
know that?
mascot on the gophers, because I'm a Minnesota alum. The Minnesota mascot Goldie is the drawn animal is a chipmunk, not a gopher.
Right.
Yeah, because
I
the
mean,
guy who drew it didn't know the difference.
they should have just used the Bucky's guy for your mascot.
Yeah, sure. I'm pretty sure that Goldie predated Bucky's, but
Yeah, well, retroactively do it.
yeah.
I think I actually just heard there's going to be a Bucky's in between Milwaukee and Minnesota.
That's
I don't know.
strange.
I know. I thought they were only.
I
in
would
the
guess that
South.
it'll be like in Toma.
I think that's literally what someone. That's exactly what someone said.
Yeah.
Told me this Friday.
Yeah.
So get pumped.
Having grown up 45 miles from Toma, that's absolutely where I would put one if I were putting one. So you've had some stuff published recently. Where can people find that?
Oh yeah. So a very good friend of mine from graduate school just started a literary magazine called The Rejoinder. I believe the URL is rejoindermag.com. So I did a series of short fiction pieces with them at the beginning of the year. They post they do one writer every month, and they post an installment each week. Usually it's one serialized story, but I was doing these short pieces that are about fucked up periods in American politics, lightly fictionalized. So yeah, that was really cool. There's an interview with me as well as part of that series where I got to kind of explain what the project is,
Okay.
which is useful because it's a strange project. But yeah, I had a piece in the Oxford American last year, which
Yeah,
was
you did.
yeah, that was awesome. That was
Great. I
Yeah.
loved that so much. I shared it a lot on social media.
Oh yeah.
But
I
yeah,
appreciate
it
that.
was about your experience on. Well, you
Yeah.
can explain it.
Oh, well, honestly, if you ever want to do an episode about that fucking movie, I've done the research. Yeah, so my band, my terribly named band, Fleshlights, we were part of a day of shooting for the Terrence Malick film, which wound up being called Song to Song. It's one of the worst movies I've ever seen. I was actually I rewatched it to write the piece, to do my due diligence. And I was depressed for like 2 or 3 days after watching it. Cause it was just it's especially, well, what we were talking about before we started the call, what's happened to Austin, Texas, how much it's changed, how, kind of just horrible it's become. And I think that movie really sort of, and I guess I get to this in the piece a bit. The movie is sort of, even though it's a terrible dog shit piece of filmmaking, it sort of calls the shot about what's going to happen to Austin, because it's this movie that's ostensibly about the Austin music scene, but not nary a Austin musician appears in it. Not even somebody. I was convinced after I watched it, I was like, wait, Gary Clark Jr. is definitely in it, right? I was sure. I was because I was writing the piece, I knew they were going to fact check it, and I was saying that there were no Austin musicians, and I was like, I got to go back and double check. And yeah, not one, not even and there's nothing wrong with Gary Clark Jr. He's fine.
No,
really
no,
my
but
thing,
you're assuming that at least and it's weird because living in Austin when Gary Clark Jr. happened.
Yeah, he was everywhere.
But
And
he
this was-
also
oh, yeah.
wasn't like part of the Austin music scene necessarily.
Right, not in the way that you would think.
Yeah, like he
Yeah.
didn't come up playing like the same bars that everybody else did, and he just exploded. Like it felt like he made it outside of Austin, just like Shaky Graves did too.
Which is what really what everyone actually does.
Yeah,
Because Austin has no real musical infrastructure. It just has a lot of, I mean, it used to be an organic thing where it was just a lot of people who liked doing what they did. I mean, and then there's like a band like Trail of Dead, which will, or Spoon,
yeah.
which, still it doesn't feel homegrown in the same way that I guess some other things do. But anyway, yeah, that movie, by being a movie about Austin music that has no Austin musicians and only features famous people, nationally famous people, and people who have like moved to the city, and also only featuring landmarks that are like the most fucking basic dumb shit things you can think of. That's pretty much what literally Austin has become. It's famous for things that have nothing to do with it. The landmarks are all completely just, turned inside out. They're like sock puppets of themselves.
Yeah.
And that's that's what the essay was more or less about.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And it was,
I mean,
I loved
it.
The day of shooting was no spoilers, but it was a funny day. And I hope I captured that to some degree.
You did.
Yeah. There were some hijinks, I would say. Mostly our drummer Alyssa Ussery, shout out. She's a special, very special person. And she had some really excellent interactions with some famous people. I think that what didn't even make it in is when she told Ryan Gosling that she loved him in Are You Afraid of the Dark? And it was like she wasn't even supposed to be anywhere near him, and she somehow we kept going where we weren't supposed to go, and yeah.
What do they expect when they're having a bunch of fucking Austin punk bands come in?
Dude, it was so dumb. Yeah, it's like, yeah, they got what they bargained for, but or they got what they deserved.
Yeah. So this week or next installment we'll be talking about a film that you've not seen since your youth.
Oh yeah, and I thought it was so fucking cool back then.
It might still be. We don't know yet.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. So we'll be watching The Beastmaster, the 1982 Don Coscarelli film.
That's why I have hope for it, because of
yeah,
Coscarelli.
Sure. Love Bubba Hotep. Yeah. Anyway, so memory can obviously be a tricky thing. And again, we've not. This is going in cold, but without having rewatched it, what do you think the basic plot of the film was? Just briefly. You don't need to go into detail, but okay. Like roughly, what do you think it was about?
So, my memories of I remember, obviously. Well, for one, it's funny this didn't come up in our little our conversation before we started recording, but just so you can see what I'm looking at here. That is a Beastmaster poster. So a friend of mine, a very good friend of mine, bought me a Beastmaster poster, because he knew I had talked about it a lot as being a movie that was like weirdly formative that I have no recollection of. And I was getting a bunch of other stuff framed at the time, because I was in this phase where I was like, I'm not going to be like a loser punk rocker and just put stuff up with thumbtacks anymore. I'm a grown up. So I just sort of took it to the framing shop, and then when I got it back, I looked at it. I was like, wait, what the fuck? Like, why do I have a framed Beastmaster poster now? And I've just like never been able to I'm not going to get rid of it, but every time I hang it up in a new place, I'm like, okay, like this is what people are going to see and think that I'm like the Beastmaster guy. So, but I do think the tagline is hilarious. It's born with the courage of an eagle, the strength of a black tiger and the power of a god, which it has like a sort of like Ubermensch
Yeah.
yeah, it's like vaguely like fascist or something.
Sure,
and, like,
sure.
and
Yeah.
very, very extreme.
Yeah.
So I really do think that's very funny. So yeah, my recollections of the plot though, there's a guy who looks like he works out a lot. He's friends with animals.
Yeah.
They hang out. There's a evil guy that's like a wizard or something. And I remember there's a scene where there's like, yeah, a woman tied to a slab and he's like gonna cut her up. And then the Beastmaster uses his little ferret friends to fuck that guy's plans up.
Okay.
I think that's all I got.
That's fine. Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, the less you remember, the better, probably. For the sake of the podcast.
This poster, there's a panther, or that's a panther. Yeah, there's definitely an eagle. Oh, I guess that's a black tiger going from the. Yeah, okay, so I don't have any idea.
Sure. It's a big cat. It's a large cat.
Yeah, it's a big cat. You wouldn't want that to jump on you while you were running in the mountains.
No.
What else?
So,
yeah.
How old were you when this was a fixture of your youth?
So I remember watching this. I mean, there's a pretty much a 100% chance that my brother is he's 8.5 years older than me. So there's like a lot of my formative stuff was showed to me by him.
Sure.
So there's a pretty much a 100% chance that he showed me this movie probably when I was, who knows? I could have been 4 years old.
Uh-huh.
I can't remember if we had it on VHS. I know like the main VHS I remember was Ghostbusters. I know we had that, but we had like only a few others. We didn't have a ton of movies, but this could have been one of them. And I also remember watching it at my my best friend's house, who was like, we were best friends, I think, up until I started like kindergarten. So this was like a family friend that we like spent every day together from like 2 to 8 years old or something. So yeah, that was very formative time.
Okay. I mean, it was also on in perpetuity. It was on HBO and TBS all the time.
Right.
Around the time that you're talking about. So it would have been easy. Like at the friend's house, it would have been entirely conceivable that you would have watched it that way. But this was easy to see. Like it was on a lot until about 1992 or 3. Like it was on all the time.
Because it's not particularly easy to see now, I don't think.
No, I don't. Yeah, I don't think that the public is constantly yearning for this. Like, say, I feel like if you had cable, you would still be able to watch Ferris Bueller's Day Off all the time, or you'd still be able to watch Breakfast Club would probably be on all the time still.
Well, for me, like, 'cause I'm like very, very much not a fantasy guy.
Yeah.
I pretty much grew out. But I think I'm of an age group, which I guess maybe you are too, even though you're a little bit older than me. But I feel like that sort of stuff was like hard marketed to like my age group, like Willow, even like Return of the Jedi has more of that sort of vibe. Trying to think of other ones, but and so
I was like 7 when Willow came out.
Okay, yeah. So I think that's maybe I'm getting trickle down from my brother of like that sort of like high fantasy shit that was like really popular then and then kind of went out of style and then is now back.
Yeah.
But I was talking to a friend of mine recently. We were talking about Dune and how whether or not I was going to see it, and I was like, I'm going to see it. Because it's like I still like sci-fi, but I think the thing that I don't like or don't care about anymore, I don't like lore.
Yeah.
I don't have fucking time to like learn, like to
learn this new world.
Yeah. When you're getting into like a IP that requires like multiple languages, or countries, that kind of shit. I'm just like, give me a break.
Yeah,
Who's got? I ain't got time for that.
I don't either.
I'm a fucking
I'm
grown up
okay
man.
if fantasy were happening in our world. I don't have a problem with that because then like I don't have as much a problem with that
Yeah. I mean,
because then it's like still sort of tethered to a reality that I can understand.
I think I'm still bitter about Game of Thrones because I somehow wound up watching all of that,
Yeah.
but mostly just because I have like, I'm like a neurodivergent in the way where I have to watch every episode of some fucking, and the first three seasons were like entertaining or whatever. It was never my thing. I was never like really excited about it, but I couldn't look away. And then by the time, the back half of that series is like, I think, unquestionably terrible.
Yeah.
But so I try not to blame the Beastmaster for that.
What
But
do
I
you think you
do.
were? What do you think you were like when you were this young?
I don't know. Uh, uh, my brother and my dad say I was a pretty fun little kid. I wore, like a lot of, like big t-shirts that like went down to my knees. I have a really stupid haircut.
Uh-huh.
Um, Definitely like, yeah, I don't know. I lived in my head for sure. So I think something like this. Another thing I'm remembering now is when he like goes into the eagle and it like they're like POV shots from the eagle's point of. I think there might be POV shots from every animal, which is very funny.
Uh-huh.
Like because you're gonna get everything from eagles to ferrets.
Sure. Yeah.
Another thing about this movie, I think the ferret industrial complex probably really uh profited from this because there was
Yeah.
definitely a time where I was like, ferrets are the fucking coolest. Like if you meet a guy with a ferret, that's like,
Yeah.
you're like hanging out with a real dude. And now I realize that it's for like 20-year-old high school seniors that sell their parents medication,
Yeah. Yeah.
like that's the guy that has a ferret, it's like probably listens to Slipknot, like still,
But you think that this movie might be brought to you by Big Ferret?
maybe, yeah,
Okay.
because they come off very cool.
Yeah, they do.
They come off awesome. He like keeps them in a little pouch and then like they like go and bite people and shit. It's like pretty badass.
When was the last time you think you saw this?
Well, because yeah, I was gonna like speaking. I was because I'm trying to. It came up on a like Vinegar Syndrome did a big release for this in one of their like uh not steel book but the one like they did a very like highfalutin release for this. And I considered getting it because I was like, again, this is another sort of brain problem I have where I just buy shit
Yeah.
like that because I'm like, fuck it, why not? What else am I going to do with my money? But I slept on it. So I don't know. It could have been like 30 years ago.
Yeah.
I'm guessing 30. Like
Yeah.
I haven't, because like when we worked at the place that won't be named.
We can
There's
talk about it. I've talked about it before.
Oh, okay, yeah. When we worked at that fucking shithole Spider House,
Yeah.
The video store that we had the free account at,
Uh-huh.
I Love
Love
Video.
Video.
I don't think I ever rented it there, but I also the amount of drinking we were doing at Spider House and the amount of movies I was watching with the free account from I Love Video. There's a lot of stuff I saw while I was
Yeah.
borderline blacked out. So
Yeah, but as far as you remember, you probably haven't seen it in 30 years.
yeah, 30
Yeah.
years.
What do you think it was about the Beastmaster that appealed to young J-Bone?
Oh man, what didn't appeal? Hold on. The whole thing was awesome. I think yeah, the idea that you're like fighting evil with a bunch of like little critters as your team that's so cool. Like I'm not I'm
I know,
not
I
being
know, I
ironic
know.
here. Like that's badass.
Yeah.
If I could do that now, like, if you were walking through the park and saw some guy being mean to some people and you could get a bunch of squirrels to go jump on his ass and take him out, like that'd be rad.
Yeah.
I still think it's cool. um, uh,
Do you think
and
that this film informed you're not a vegan anymore, but you're vegetarian. Do you think that this informed your veganism that then became a much more lax version of oh, you're pescatarian now even.
I am, yeah.
Yeah,
So I'm not a friend of the fishes anymore.
yeah. Well,
Uh,
this we're not watching Aquaman.
right, right. I'm just gonna say yes. I don't. I have no evidence for whether or not that's the case. But yeah, sure. I became.
You
a
haven't
vegan
been going. This isn't something that you're covering with a therapist or anything.
Yeah, I'm not doing like deep psychotherapy work about my connections to the Beastmaster.
Okay, okay.
I probably should be, honestly. But yeah. No, I do. I guess it's gonna it may sound silly. I do. I mean, I have always, I've always been an animal guy. Always been an animal fan. I think this spoke to that for sure.
Is it a chicken and egg scenario though?
Right. Who can say? Yeah. Maybe I did not. Maybe I just fucking hated animals, and then I saw this, and it changed my mind.
You're like, oh, these guys can help me.
Yeah, like they seem pretty cool. I think I want them to be in my posse.
Yeah, for sure. All right. What memories do you have that stick out most about the film? This could range from like personal experiences with the movie, like hanging out with a friend or brother watching it, or like what just about the movie in general sort of sticks out.
Unfortunately, the memories are so vague that like experiential ones are like pretty. That's mostly just like that would be the vague memory of like it's a Saturday, it's weirdly sunny out, and me and my friend are instead in the living room watching this movie instead of going outside and actually playing with real animals.
Sure.
That's more of what I remember. I do remember finding it very like comforting. I don't know if we ever like played Beastmaster. That sounds weird. That sounds not good. Yeah, I don't know if I played.
I think we should just leave it there. I think.
Yeah, let's just move on. But with the remembering that I said we did not do that.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I honestly, dude, I remember those fucking ferrets. I thought they were like I guess there's like a scene where he can't get through some sort of tunnel scenario, and so he lets them loose and they go do whatever, and I was like, that would be so awesome if I could just have a ferret friend.
You never had a ferret though?
Oh God, no. I mean, it's a specific kind, like iguanas, ferrets. They're not quite exotic pets, but they're on that.
I would posit that they're exotic pets.
I guess so. I mean, and that's a weird guy.
Yeah.
Weird guys do go for that.
Yeah, you don't have a ponytail.
No, exactly. I don't have a butterfly knife.
Yeah.
I don't have actually I might. But it's ironic. That's an ironic weapon. Shit. Yeah. I do have a ninja star somewhere. But that's a different story. Let me think. I feel like there's something I was gonna say, but now I can't remember. Yeah, good times though. I mean, definitely that's what I associate.
You just remember the joy that this film brought to your
I was
life.
gonna say we texted about this a little bit. Another thing I remember, which is not technically about this movie, I remember my sincere and intense disappointment when I saw the sequel to this fucking movie, which is Beastmaster 2, I believe, Through the Portals of Time, which is where he goes to late 80s, early 90s Beverly Hills and hangs out with a Valley girl. And
yeah. Through the portal of time.
Yeah, it's a different vibe.
1991.
91.
Yeah. Oh wow. The Valley Girls Carrie Wurr.
I mean, I remember like thinking, you know, in a young boy way, thinking she was pretty cool.
Uh-huh.
Um, but
Easy to see why you would think that.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like formative in the Chris Isaac music video on the beach kind of
Sure.
way.
Wicked Game, yeah.
Yeah, that was a different thing.
Yeah.
But this was all, you know, I wasn't mad at her so much. It was I mean, the Beastmaster like goes to the mall, and it's
Yeah.
very,
Mhm.
very, very strange.
Yeah,
That
that's the
pissed me
thing.
off.
We were talking about how I was like, oh, this sounds like Beastmaster meets Star Trek 4: The Voyage Home.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Where they slingshot around the sun and travel back to 1984 San Francisco.
Hell yeah. That's fucking awesome.
Yeah, that happened. Spock in San Francisco in 1984 is something.
Now that San Francisco is just full of Spocks
Yeah.
and Datas.
More datas than
More
Spocks, I
Datas.
think.
There's yeah.
So what do you expect to be treated to by the Beastmaster upon your return to it?
Well, so we covered the I don't like lore bit.
Uh,
So
but how much lore is there when you're talking about a guy who just can basically psychically talk to animals?
yeah, I'm hoping there's not a lot of that. I'm hoping there's not a lot of like in the early era, and then
Sure.
you know, like some, you know, I don't have no thank you.
Yeah.
I'm hoping we get right into the good stuff, you know. And I'm thinking, you know what? Because my whole approach to movies and kind of art in general has changed a lot. I'm like a lot less
Since you were 8?
Yeah, but also since I was in the past like 4 or 5 years, I think I think you saw my Letterboxd review of Southland Tales.
Yeah.
Which is a movie we saw and both absolutely hated.
Yeah.
And I saw it again recently. I mean, I did see it on the big screen. There was a bit more you know, people were excited about it. But I you know, I really enjoy it. Like I'm really into like career killers.
Yeah.
I like a movie that's gonna like
Babylon?
No. I mean I did like honestly I
You
would
didn't hate it as much as I did, but
I did really fucking hate it. I thought there were some scenes that actually worked. Honestly, if Babylon would have been worse, like more inept in its production, I probably would have enjoyed it more. Like it was too professional, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But
it was shot well.
Yeah. That last, I mean, the segment with the clips from Avatar in it was really amazing.
I mean, I had honestly forgotten that even happened.
It's pretty. Honestly, they should have put some clips from the fucking Beastmaster at the end of Babylon.
They should have. Cool.
Yeah. But
sorry, back to the Beastmaster.
Right. So what am I think it's gonna be good. Okay. I think I'm gonna like it. Okay. I'm not. Yeah. I'm more interested in things that are like pieces of work that are more uniquely themselves, like something that is like
sure
you can't replicate, you know.
Right.
That is more exciting to me than like a very well made you know, piece of Oscar bait or something.
Right.
So, and I think, you know, Coscarelli's done some cool shit. I'm forgetting besides Bubba Hotep, but did he do John Dies at the End?
He did the first 4 films in the Phantasm franchise.
Right.
He did John Dies at the End also.
Which I haven't seen since it came out, but I remember liking quite a bit.
Yeah, I liked it when I saw it. I remembered virtually nothing about it. But yeah, it's basically he's known for the Phantasm series. I don't know Survival Quest, but he did that also. Bubba Hotep, John Dies at the End.
And Mark Singer is a freak. Like he's a freak of nature. And fucking Rip Torn is in it, which I'm only knowing that because I have this poster up on my wall and I'm looking at it right now. But yeah, Rip Torn is one of my favorite actors.
He's great.
He also hit Norman Mailer in the head with a hammer, which is cool. There's footage of that if you ever need to find.
He hit Justin Long with a wrench.
What?
Isn't that him? If you can dodge a dodgeball, you can dodge a wrench. Or if you can dodge a wrench, you can
Oh,
dodge a dodgeball in
but I
dodgeball.
mean, he like that was like in the movie,
Yeah,
right? That
that's
was
in the
like
movie. Yeah.
staged.
But it's probably because he hit Norman
Yeah,
Mailer
he
with a hammer.
actually hit Norman Mailer in the
Yeah.
head with a hammer.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the clip of him attacking Norman Mailer is awesome.
We all know Rip
Um,
Torn really from
highly
his
recommend.
turn in Freddy Got Fingered, where he's Tommy
Freddy
Gun
Got
Fingered.
Fingered, yeah,
Yeah.
which is on the Criterion right now.
It is. I almost watched it last night.
Yeah, you don't usually attach words like heroic and brave to the Criterion
Uh-huh.
company, but putting Freddy Got Fingered up,
Yeah.
I think earns those superlatives.
I concur. So you think you'll
Fucking
like
great
it?
movie.
Do you have any other sort of expectations?
I'm just hoping I don't wind up getting a ferret.
Okay, okay.
You know,
This could
I
rekindle
hope that
your love for ferrets.
yeah, it could.
Yeah.
What if? I feel like my fiance would not be thrilled. My dog would it would freak him out.
Yeah.
But
Maybe the ferret would ride on the back of your dog.
that would be cool. That
Yeah.
would be really cool.
I bet that would happen.
That would be awesome. And now you're just making it.
I know.
Well, I think he also has two ferrets because I guess
I
you got to
think there
get
are
him
multiples, yeah.
you got to get him a buddy, right?
Yeah.
I probably won't wind up wanting to get a panther. That seems like a bit much.
It'd be hard to fit in your house in a way that
I
seemed
mean,
humane.
we have a basement. Just throw some sawdust down and just
Yeah,
let it
sure.
hang out down there.
Uh-huh.
Be weird to do laundry,
Uh-huh.
but we'll probably be okay. Wait, what was the question? What?
Any other expectations? You don't think you'll
Oh.
buy a ferret? You think you'll like this, but you might buy a ferret.
I might wind up getting a ferret. Yeah.
Do you think
I don't know.
Do you think there are any ways in which this might have aged poorly?
That was what I was just thinking. I don't know if it's going to be offensive in some way.
It's from
I feel like-
1982. There are probably some things that will be offensive, but
It's probably going to be offensive in like how Conan is, because this is kind of like a budget
which Conan though?
Well, I'm just trying to think. I mean,
There's
doesn't he
plenty
just-
about all of them, but there are plenty of different problems about all of them.
I mean, doesn't he generally fight like quote unquote Moors or something like
I feel like that's probably the case.
a very Islam coded group
Yeah,
of people, and then I mean, I just women are treated totally awesome and normal and like full human beings, stuff like that.
Yeah, that'll probably be here.
Yeah, I'm imagining there will be some cool stuff around
Tony
around-
Roberts.
Yeah, it should totally be normal and not exploitative at all.
Yep.
What else? Wait, there's actually, because this is definitely, if I feel like it's gonna feel like a budget Conan with animals.
It's like 2 years after.
What there's literally a knockoff Conan though that I'm trying to think of.
Krull?
Maybe it was Kroll. I remember that being, even as a little kid, seeing that and being like, oh, this is like they don't necessarily say we're going to go rape all these women, but they're like, they will enjoy our love in a way that you're like, oh, that's not cool.
Sure.
So I wonder if there will be some of that.
Oh no, Krull's in space.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what. Yeah, there's some very stupid Conan movie that is.
Yeah.
It could just be who knows. That's again not really my shit. I
Yeah,
don't
sure,
care
sure.
about it.
Mhm.
But we'll see. I think this will be pretty fun though.
I do too, which is why we're doing this from your list.
Yeah, there's some weird stuff on the list.
Yeah, there's some good stuff on there.
I still want to do American Beauty, but whatever.
I would save it. Don't rewatch it. I'd like to do that also.
Yeah.
Sean
That was
Sean hated that movie when it came out.
Yeah.
So I'd love to make Sean have to rewatch it.
That'd be sick. I think we should do it.
Yeah. Well, cool. Jeremy, is there anywhere where people can find you online?
I'm on the most annoying lib-coded social network, Blue Sky. I think you can just find me as Jeremy Steen. But I have the most fun on Letterboxd. It's the only I'm like I'm a baby when it comes to posting. I can't do it. It makes me extremely anxious, and I had to quit Twitter because I was having psychological problems, like a lot of people were around 2021. But
Sure, it's easy to doom scroll during a pandemic and have it adversely affect you.
I've never been built for it though. I was never
I
on
know.
Facebook or Instagram or any of that shit. I'm just not. Yeah, it makes me insane. But I have a lot of fun on Letterboxd.
Yeah.
Dogs be out on there.
Yep.
If you follow me, I'll follow you back. And
I love, you're easily my favorite person on Letterboxd.
Oh, hell yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
I really enjoy it. Yeah. And I've also, I'm not here stumping for the platform, but it's actually the promise of social media where you'll like learn new things and meet new, that has actually happened on there. I found so many cool movies thanks to that platform. And it's like inspired me to rewatch a lot of stuff that, like I said, I watched when I was blacked out in my 20s. Yeah. So yeah, that's about it. DOGSBEOUT, Dogs Be Out on Letterboxd.
Yep.
Fuck
all spelled out, full words. Dogs Be
Bullshit.
Out.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Thanks for joining us, Jeremy. I'm really looking forward to. I have also not seen this in a very long time.
Do you think it's been about the same?
Yeah, it's been at least 30 years.
Cool. Yeah. Awesome.
At least, maybe longer. Honestly, it's been a very, very long time,
dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're in for a treat.
Yeah,
I may eat those.
I think
words,
it's going to be nuts. It's going to be very wild. We're going to be seeing a lot of loincloths.
Yes.
Yeah, hold on to your butts, everybody.
Keep your junk covered.
Yeah.
Especially if you're in the desert with ferrets.
Mm-hmm.
They get everywhere.
They do. Well, thanks for joining us this week, Jeremy. We'll obviously be seeing you again or hearing you again next week.
Hell yeah.
You've just listened to another installment of the Unkind Rewind podcast, mining and potentially ruining your childhood for content, one film at a time. Unkind Rewind is a Munchcast production and can be ingested wherever you listen to podcasts and on the Unkind Rewind YouTube channel. Music for this and every other episode of Unkind Rewind was composed by Divorcio Suave. Rate and review Unkind Rewind on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Goodpods, Yelp, IMDb, Consumer Reports, Google Reviews, and TripAdvisor. Links to all of our social media accounts are in our show notes, but you'll find us as at Unkind Rewind Pod on nearly every social media platform that makes sense. If you had a question, concern, complaint, or positive feedback, you can email the podcast at unkindrewindpod@gmail.com, or you can join the lively Munchcast Discord to discuss this or any other episode of the Unkind Rewind with like-minded people. This dialogue with the pod may just make it into the next week's ep, so chat away. The Unkind Rewind Patreon will be coming soon, so start squirreling that pocket change away. Thank you for listening to another Unkind Rewind.